I'm positive he never went up there on his own. He was either tricked or threatened. There was some force that made him go up there. They wouldn't have fled off into the woods like a bunch of quail. We know good and well that somebody made him do it. I'm Acadia Einstein, and this is Strangeful Things.
Sheltering in place is not advised. Your survival cannot be ensured in that scenario.
Love has practically caused me to just get you destroyed.
Unsolved, unresolved, and super complicated.
Strangeful Things.
Welcome, everybody, to Strangeful Things. I'm Acadia. Notice how I switched up the beginning there, Chewy?
Yeah, and that I loved how you did like the Mrs. Bob's Burgers voice on that too.
I didn't really think that's what I was doing, but now that you say that, that is what I was doing. A fun piece of Bob's Burger trivia. One of the writers is obviously a big Gilligan's Island fan. Why? Because the kids' names are Tina and Louise. Ginger on Gilligan's Island's name was Tina Louise.
Look at that.
Yep. All right.
Thanks for that.
So anyway, this week, it's not as hot. So, folks, we talk about the fucked up things, and we try to keep it light.
Mm-hmm. Unlike us.
That sums it up. Keeping it light. That's us. Positive people. Now, last night,
that's us.
We tried to record, and it all fucked up.
It did when my internet went out.
Yes. Well, I wasn't blaming. This is not a blame storm.
Yeah, but it was honest. It was honest.
But this actually works out.
You were like, you want to play, and I actually thought about it.
Yeah.
But we couldn't have played. I didn't have internet.
Yeah, I know. I realize that now.
I was like, wait, I feel bad because I'm saying now I'm going to bed, and then I'm like, wait a second. I couldn't have even fucking done it if I wanted to.
Well, you dear listeners kind of lucked out because it was really hot in my office last night. So I talked about it in a way that Chewy was not fond of.
Oh God.
And
thank
now
God. How's nice and cool today, huh?
It's cooler, I'll tell you that. It's not so, you know what I should have done before I should have just done the whole, do I have time to take a shower?
Again?
No, I don't. Do I have time to stand in the bathtub with a handful of Gold Bond powder and slap it on my nuts? Yes, I do. And I'll get the sensation of a million tiny, tiny elves pinching my skin for a little short period of time. It also tamps down the smell. Powder. All right.
Well, that's only for you.
Well, yeah, that's who I don't go anywhere. If I can smell my own nuts, that's a problem.
That is a problem.
Because and I don't know why you got to body shame me. I have a long torso that means that my nose is farther away from my nuts than it would be in a regular person.
Right. So if you could smell them.
I know. Oof. Imagine somebody with a normal torso.
Oof.
Yep.
Normal torso.
So tonight we're talking about a story that is. I mean, yeah, I know it's a bummer, but this one's going to be harder to keep light. Not impossible, but harder. And it's also really fucking delicate.
Yeah.
Because the story is about a group of people that have come to be known as the Yuba County Five. Sometimes the Yuba City Five, but I'm gonna stick with county because they didn't all live in Yuba City. Problem with it is that we don't victim blame on this show.
Right. And we don't usually make fun of the victims or
and
joke about the victims.
I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that these particular people, I don't think should have ever been put in the situation that they were put in. Although that's not even fair, because you'll understand in a minute. And I'm just gonna say something right off the fucking bat, so that I get it out of the way, because you're gonna hear me kind of wince and try to make sure that I'm relaying the information that needs to be relayed without being a piece of shit. This whole thing happened in the year 1978.
The year of our Lord.
So I'm going to read you, trigger warning, a newspaper headline.
Newspaper?
From the time. Yeah. And then everything else in the story can be filtered through this incredibly insensitive, I guess you would say, product of its time headline. 5 slightly retarded men vanish without a trace. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the story. That's the story of the Yuba County 5 in a nutshell. It's a very, very tiny, tiny nutshell.
Thank you
if
for
you'd
listening.
like to learn more,
Keep
yes,
on
thank
flat.
you.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you and good night. The men in this case, let's just get into it.
Right.
We're talking about
they're people. That's just one people. Piece of information about them.
And it's not even accurate.
They're right.
It's all over the fucking place. Because it's not, you know what? I'm not a scientist. We've proven that time and time again. So I'm not going to even.
But did you stay at a Holiday Inn Express?
No, that's true too. No, fuck that. I give my points to Marriott. I don't know. Oh, I do know why. But whatever. So they were 5 friends, lived in California.
Right.
They are referred to, because remember, I assume that after you listen to an episode of Strangeful Things, you go listen to some other podcast to get all of the facts of the case relayed in a consistent and helpful manner.
Concise.
Yeah, you're not getting that from us.
Well-pointed, well-organized manner.
Well, you know what? I'm organized. But anyway.
Good for you.
You're going to hear them referred to as the boys a lot. But I don't want you to think about it as they're boys. It's not. It's not. They're not. They're grown. It's the boys are back in town kind of boys. You know what? I'll just dug out with me and with the boys and knock back a couple of.
Is that what it's like?
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's the most likely thing. But they're grown men. But they might get referred to as the boys, but it's just because if you got a group of people, you got to call them something if they're together a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, here's
this group of young men.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the kind of thing where, when you go in and the father doesn't know what to say because he doesn't remember any of your names, you go, oh, here comes trouble, or some bullshit like that.
Hey, champ. Hey, chief.
Steve, Yoshi, Barney, Slimer. So we're talking about 5 guys. I'll give you their names right now, and then we'll get into them a little deeper. So if you're taking notes, this is the time to whip out your S pen or your stylus.
Don't take notes.
Bill Sterling was 29. Jack Hewitt was 24. He was the youngest. Ted Weir was 32. Jack Madruga was 30. And Gary Mathias was 25. Now, they knew each other from this thing in their community called the Gateway Project. The Gateway Project basically gave people with disabilities something to do. Now, this was a point of contention for people investigating the case, and there was at least one thing that I started looking into that I just completely fucking disregarded because it was, this is not a conspiracy.
Right. Yeah. It's not like that kind of story.
This guy wanted to make it a conspiracy. So fuck that guy. The point is, 5 guys, they met each other through the Gateway Project and they had a basketball team. They were a basketball team because all you need is 5. They were the Gateway Gators. Pow! It's a pretty
a lot
sweet
of gators
name.
out in Northern California.
Well, I mean, at least it was ORS, not ERS. Like, what do? Oh, we just you put up fences? Nope, just the gates. We're the gate guys. We don't hardly know what a fence is. They were in a tournament, or they were going to start into a tournament.
Yeah.
On February 25th, the first game in a week-long tournament that was sponsored by the Special Olympics. So there's your other umbrella of understanding the folks that we're talking about.
Right. They were competing to participate in the Special Olympics.
Right. And by the way, this is not, if you're triggered right now and worried about something bad happening, well, something bad's going to happen, but it's not a matter of, these 5 gentlemen, decided, hey, you know what we should do? We should go to, I don't know, Macy's and buy mittens. And then they were horribly tortured and murdered. That's not what happened.
All right.
So don't worry about that, if that was your specific worry. But again, vanished without a trace.
Yeah.
At the time it was made, that was true. At the time that headline was written, it was true. But they found traces. So they were gonna start their tournament on February 25th, 1978, the first game. And if you won the tournament, you got a free week in Los Angeles. So they were fucking hyped for this. Like, very hyped. Because they were like, because Yuba City's way up north California. Like, the part of California that you assume isn't actually California. Because
you think, hey, that's Oregon up there.
Right. There's going to be little things that happen throughout this story that break your fucking heart, and there's no way that I can avoid it. So you're fixing to get your heart broke. I'm telling you. A couple of them had laid out their clothes and their uniforms because they were so psyched for the game the next day.
Right.
Not like the fucking game was going to be at 7:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, they were just going to fucking jump up and pull on their tiny, tiny 1978 shorts that were probably
like
made of terry cloth.
Out of it.
Yeah.
Terry cloth. Or that, like, really tight, like, cotton that doesn't stretch at all. Like, so if you, move your leg a little, like, you're like... Yeah, that happened to me doing gymnastics in 4th grade.
Okay, well, you doing gymnastics is a whole episode by itself.
I was in 4th grade, and I actually did, what's that called? Like a straddle thing? Like when you jump over the horse and you split your legs. I did that and got over the horse and landed, only I split my pants, my shorts when I did it.
It's too much. They weren't rated for that move.
Yeah, those were not the shorts of a... No, that was just bad.
Those are not the shorts of an athlete. Those are the shorts that the tag said fat boy. Husky. It said husky.
One of the size was husky.
Yes. So they had the game the next day. A couple of them had told their parents, because they all lived at home, because they couldn't not live at home. They were like, don't forget to wake me up because we got the game tomorrow. Like, they was fucking fixated on this game, but not so fixated that they didn't have another activity planned. Because the night before their game, their favorite college basketball team, University of California, Davis, I don't know where the fuck. UC Davis,
that's in
not
Davis.
usually high on people's list, I would assume, but
There's a couple of UCs that are probably more popular than that one.
they had a big game that night against Chico State.
Chico used to be the top party school in the country. Remember that?
Well, yeah, until the man came and wrecked it.
Yeah.
So they
Destroyed it.
said, you know what, we're gonna go watch UC Davis at Chico State. That was their that was their
The big
evening. That was their plan. And they went. And guess what? UC Davis won. So it was euphoria amongst the boys.
Wow.
Now, did they drive 50 miles to see a scrub college basketball team play another scrub basketball team? Absolutely. But did
They did.
But they did it on purpose and
That's right.
let people like stuff. If that's your thing, go fucking do it.
Hey, if you want to watch UC Davis at UC Chico, you
Knock
do that.
yourself up. And then they were so excited because UC Davis won. They went to Bears Market in downtown Chico.
That's where everybody goes after the big Davis games.
Yes. But
I guess.
we know this because the cashier later told people that she was pissed off when they came in because it was just before 10 o'clock. She's supposed to be closing, not
She wants to close.
serving rowdy UC Davis fans whooping it up in their store.
We both worked at a deli. Nobody wants anybody coming in anywhere near close.
Basically, we don't want any customers at all, really.
Well, that's true too, but definitely not around close. Like once the floor's mopped, you're like, all right,
Yeah,
anybody
fuck
else
that.
comes in, just shoo them away.
If you order a sandwich after we've already cleaned the slicer, guess
okay,
what?
after I've cleaned a slicer,
Fuck
fuck
that.
you.
So this is what they bought. Snacks. They got themselves some snacks. They got a Hostess cherry pie. That's a winner.
Snack.
That's a
That's
winner.
a winner right there. Especially back then, I bet there was actually cherries in it.
True.
It wasn't just the cherry filling.
Right? They got a Langendorf lemon pie. Because if you need lemon pie, make it a Langendorf.
I don't eat much lemon pies, but when I do,
When
they
I
are
do,
Langendorf.
I reach for a Langendorf.
A
They
Langendorf.
also got a Snickers bar and a Marathon bar, which if you're listening to this show and you know what a Marathon bar is and you remember the fact that it had a ruler on
Which
the
I
back of
don't.
it, you had a whole day to look it up.
It's not going to bring back a memory that doesn't exist.
It may have been repressed. Maybe you got one stuffed up your jumper.
My bum.
Yeah. Maybe that was
Then
the
why would I
Marathon.
repress that?
Is it safe?
As long as it doesn't have nuts.
So
The nougat.
they got a Snickers bar, they got a Marathon bar, they got 2 Pepsis and a quart and a half of
Yeah.
milk. So if I didn't say anything else about anything regarding the relative aura of these dudes, the fact that they went to the big game and afterwards to celebrate they bought milk. That's
Yeah. Maybe they were getting rickets.
they were on. That's not milk. Milk doesn't help you with
vitamin
rickets.
D. It does too. Vitamin D. Milk's enriched with vitamin D, you knucklehead.
You got to eat lemons to keep from getting
No,
rickets.
lemons is scurvy.
You don't know anything.
I know exactly.
All right. Well, our
Question my ancient disease knowledge.
Yeah, whatever. You know what? They fucking jumped back into the car. Now the car they had was a 1969 Mercury Montego.
69.
Nice. It was a Mercury Montego, and it was a sweet fucking car. Like you look it up.
I bet.
Look it up, dummy. It was cool. And
Well, cars looked cool then.
yes,
But
they
this
were
guy loved
terribly,
this car, right?
horribly unsafe. Yeah. He loved the car. Who wouldn't? So they piled back into the Mercury Montego with their Langendorf and their Snickers and their Marathon, their Pepsis,
And
their
their
milk, and their
milks.
Hostess cherry pie. And
Don't
Never
get any
seen it.
milk on my seat.
Well, he may have said that, but we'll never know because that was it.
Maybe that's what happened. They got milk on his seat.
Well, I'll tell you whether there was milk on the seat or not pretty soon.
All right.
They were not seen again, or were they? But for our purposes right now in this story,
right.
The boys exited the mortal plane as of them.
So is there another story that they didn't do that?
It's in theories. Well,
all right.
So there's what happened. Then there's what happened later. And then there's why the fuck did that happen? Those are basically the three sections of the show.
An interesting way you break this down.
Yeah. I got a lot to do to prepare for these shows, folks. So now we're going to talk about the boys. Some of them, and they don't specify which ones, had IQs in the 40 range. 40. That's not a lot of
staggering.
Right. But remember, and this is the part that I don't really get because I don't want to victim blame in any way. I just don't know what you do with a grown child whose IQ is 40.
I'm shocked that especially back then that somebody with that condition was allowed to drive own a car.
You know what? 40 to 54 is listed here as moderate mental disability. I mean, it goes down to 1. It's not like you start like they spot everybody 10 IQ points to get going like they do in D&D. Like you can't. So they were moderately mentally disabled. Some of them, not all of them.
Well, that's what it said on the headline, right?
That's why they were in the gateway break. Yeah, but it was the fucking newspaper because they said all and they said slightly. They weren't all slightly and some were none. So we're going to talk about Bill Sterling. Bill Sterling was 29. He was super religious. He was close friends with one of the other boys. And, he really didn't leave the house very much. He went to church. He had to go play hoops. He was friends with Ted Weir. Ted Weir was like his bestie. Ted Weir would call him up, and this is the thing that makes me saddest about the entire fucking thing. Ted Weir would call him up just to read him funny names that he found in the phone book.
That's awesome.
Like I could just.
That's awesome.
Can I talk to Bill?
Yeah, he was like way ahead of his time.
Bill gets on the phone. Hey, it's me, Ted. What? Crystal Wang.
He's like ahead of his time, you know, like that was like later generations would forward memes to each other.
That's true.
In the same way.
That's true.
He's just sharing it through the media of the time.
Like if there wasn't text now and there were phone books, so basically if times were completely different, I would send anybody a funny name in the phone book, like right away. Now, Bill was taken advantage of from time to time. He was a good guy. He was a dishwasher at Beale Air Force Base, and the Air Force guys would get him drunk and steal his money.
Oh, my God.
But they're Air Force guys. Like, that's not... I would think that's somewhere in the...
I guess the honor code doesn't include picking on less fortunate
in the
people.
Air Force vows, I think, you know what this is? I get 3, 2, 1. Middle-aged Mike is now typing in the Discord to correct me something about the Air Force vows or something like that. That's right, folks. If you're a member of the Patreon, you get to fucking dunk on me time after time after time.
Oh, it's nonstop.
About innocuous things. Anyways, you can also go to the regular part of the Discord.
Said with a smile.
Yeah, you can just go to the regular part of the Discord and still dunk on me. Whatever, I don't care.
Everybody dunks on Acadia everywhere.
the point is, they shouldn't have done it. And now I'm mad at the Air Force. Now we're going to talk about Jack. Jack Hewitt was 24. He was the youngest of the group, and he was actually the one that was the most severely disabled. He couldn't read. He couldn't write. He couldn't dial a phone. So he was very handicapped.
But he had a sweet 3-pointer.
I would assume. Well, I don't know. He might have been, but he was the youngest though, so maybe he. I like to think he was the Dennis Rodman of the Gateway Gators.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, he was a monster on the boards,
like the inside enforcer.
Yeah, I think Bill, who we just talked about, that got robbed by the Air Force guys. He another little point about him that'll come up later. He did not like the outdoors. He went fishing with his family once, and he's like, "Fuck that." You know what I like? Walls and a roof. That's my jam.
You want to
keep your fucking sky and wind. I don't want nothing to do with it.
You know what feels good between your toes? Shag carpet. That's what feels good between your toes.
Hard wood.
Wood.
Jack didn't like being away from home though. Just in general, whether he was indoors or outdoors. He was a sweet kid. I mean, he wasn't. Yeah. He was not able to go out on his own.
Right.
Now I'm going to jump to Jack Madruga because he has a cool name. He was 30. It was his car. He's the guy with the car.
Yeah, the sweet car.
Had graduated high school, and the fact that everybody kept specifying that he had graduated high school seriously implies that the other fellas did not. He also went in the Army, and
for a little while.
Yeah, but a little while, and maybe veterans of Strangeful Things. Why would they go, "Hey, Jack, come over here. We want to give you a mental evaluation that apparently we didn't at the beginning." And then their result was, "You are not supposed to be here, buddy. You need to leave because
either that or we promote you to general." Right.
You don't have the mental capacity to go walk in front of bullets for us. So they said,
nice that,
I mean, it's nice that they told him.
That they keep somebody who doesn't really know what he's getting into.
Well, I just don't know how he slipped through the fucking cracks in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, we weren't really warring it up in the
after that. Yeah, everybody had backlash. It was nobody's warring it.
Yeah,
but he, despite his woes with the military, he got a driver's license, and that's why he had his sweet ride. He loved hooping.
Wow.
Loved it. They all did. He got a job in a factory, and then he got fired. And that was all they said. Don't know why.
They just said he got fired.
Right.
So we don't know if he was just incompetent or if he whipped it out in front of somebody or anything like that. Could have been anything.
Or I don't know. Or like the boss had it in for him because it was a forbidden fucking law. I don't know. There's a million things it could have been. So then there's
maybe the boss was jealous of his car.
You know what? Oh yeah, if I fire him, then he can't make the payments on the car, and then it'll be mine. He said, twirling his mustache. Yeah. Talk about playing the long game.
Excellent.
So Ted Weir, he was described as being incredibly trusting. He had, at one point, said he had a child's mind. And worked at a snack bar, and his parents made him quit because the snack bar was stressing him out too much. The snack bar. Like, I don't know what kind of fucking line at the snack bar is going to stress you out, but they were concerned, and they're like, no, it's not happening.
I heard that they used to, at this snack bar, used to mess with him and price everything at like 67 cents, 11 cents.
Make him do hard math.
And make him do it.
I round that shit up. Fucking everything's a dollar. Guess what? I invented the dollar store.
This Bazooka Joe is
exactly. It's a dollar. Well, this gum's only worth a nickel, but the comic is worth 95 cents. He was the oldest of them. He was the oldest, but like straight up, they made no bones about the fact that Ted should not be in charge. They said one time he had $100 and he bought $100 worth of pencils. And when asked why, no answer. He didn't have. I wonder how many pencils you can get for $100. He asked himself, and then found out.
That was like us the last night at Fordham.
True.
Here's $83. All the White Castle that this will pay for.
Give me all of it. Please don't shoot me. He didn't understand why you had to stop at stop signs. That was a problem.
Well, it's government telling you what to do.
That's true. His brother said that he would just come into his room and wake him up and say, how come Mickey Mantle can hit the ball farther than I can? What the fuck?
White-haired dancing. Why not me?
Yeah, can you imagine? And his brother was probably a dick. It was like, because you can't stop beating it. You little fucker, get out of here.
Because you suck.
Maybe you should stop thinking about dicks all day and swing the bat. And then Ted would. So I'm going to tell the last story that the family told about Ted. And this is all going to matter later. I'm not. Although they did kind of fucking. There was a lot more about Ted than everybody else. So.
Really?
Yeah.
He doesn't seem more interesting.
Well, I guess one night, one night their house caught on fire.
Ted's house?
Yep. And his brother was like, well, house is on fire. We got to leave. And so he went to get his brother and say, hey, Ted, got to get up. We got to get out of here because the house is on fire. And Ted's response was, leave me alone. I need to get a good night's sleep because I have work tomorrow. To the point where his brother had to physically drag him out of the house.
Those snacks aren't going to sell themselves.
That's fucking snack bar stress right there. So
capitalism.
They went out of their way to say that Ted was not going to, like, if I don't know, if Ted... They also just fucking, for no reason, go, oh, he'd eat anything he could get his hands on. Let him live his life.
He would eat anything. I was handing him a worm.
Leave him.
Ate it right up like spaghetti.
Exactly. Now we're going to talk about Gary Mathias. Gary Mathias is 25. They just keep giving him stuff to eat.
Come on. Give you $1.
The only other thing I'll say about any of them that Bill Sterling, the first guy we talked about, the guy that was 29, the guy that fucking got robbed by the Air Force guys, he used to go to the hospital and read Bible verses to the patients at the hospital.
Huh.
They don't say if anybody asked him to or what they were. Like, I can imagine him just going, like, standing in the hallway of the hospital.
Revelations.
They handed him the burnt offering piece by piece, including the head, and he burned them on the altar. Leviticus 9.
The good old Leviticus.
Verse 13. That's true.
Oh, my God.
That is Leviticus 9.
Leviticus got some good stuff. That's the one that says slavery's okay. And
it's the one. That's the one.
It's got all the good stuff.
It's got some delicious cherries that you can pick from. Fucking assholes. So, Gary was the one that they were like, well, why is Gary in the Gateway program? Because Gary, it was like, one of these things just didn't belong. Gary was the one that didn't belong because Gary was he was not challenged in the same way that the other boys were.
Oh, he wasn't?
No, but he was schizophrenic. So, like, he had friends
they all have something with their brain, but
he had friends other than the boys. And a lot of people were like, oh, why was he even in the program and everything like that? Well, somebody wrote somebody actually researched it, and the Gateway Project helped more than just, people that were mentally challenged. They helped people with all sorts of disabilities. So that's why he was there. That's where he was met, and he was friends with. He was legit friends with him, but he wasn't the. No one was calling him with funny names in the phone book, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But he did have schizophrenia. Right. He was on. He was
like the professor. He was like an outside character
in that group. Yes, I guess you could consider him the professor. He was on a drug called Cogentin, which is often combined with psychotropics to lessen the side effects.
Was back then. Is that still something that they use? Did it say?
Well, it didn't say past tense when I looked it up.
All right.
I mean, it's not like it's fucking
still using it.
I mean, some drugs they made in olden times they still use. It's not like it's laudanum or something. So the other one he was on was Stelazine, and Stelazine, they said it's used to treat certain mental and mood disorders such as schizophrenia and psychotic disorders. It helps you to think more clearly, feel less nervous, take part in everyday life. Well, that's something that everybody should take.
Why aren't I on that?
It reduces your aggressive behavior and the desire to hurt yourself and others.
I said, why aren't I on that?
Jesus.
I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to get so aggressive.
It may also help to decrease hallucinations.
Oh, well, I guess that's good if you're having them.
Yeah. So that's what he was on. And this part's going to matter too. It was very, 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 very prominent in discussing this drug. Do not stop taking this medication without consulting your doctor. Some conditions may become worse when this drug is suddenly stopped.
Yeah, you don't do that with psychodrugs.
To prevent these symptoms while you're stopping treatment with this drug, your doctor may reduce your dose gradually. It's called tapering, people. Tapering is not just for the end of your poops. It's for lots of
your
things.
slacks. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too. I never thought of that. You know what? Now I think my slack wearing days, I mean, unless I'm going to like a funeral or...
I know. I have to do 3 days a week. I have a beige pair of pants, a blue pair of pants, and a black pair of pants.
They're all Levi's cords.
Shirts.
Yeah.
And revolving shirts. That's all
I bet many of those shirts are plaid, aren't they?
Decent amount.
Plaid, checks, no solid colors.
No, the polos are all solid colors.
All right, that's fair. Okay. So Gary had also gone in the army, and he went to West Germany.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But in 1973, he apparently had some kind of breakdown, and they were like, hey, maybe we should check out this guy. Well, fuck, he's schizophrenic. Our fucking entrance exam is extremely lax, apparently.
Yeah, we really got to tighten this up.
Army. However, despite those problems,
right,
he was doing pretty fucking mint at the time this all happened. He worked for his stepfather's landscaping company, and cool. he was getting disability from the army, so he had a little, he had some
money.
He loved hooping. For some reason, they go out of their way to say that he listened to the Rolling Stones and Olivia Newton-John on the record player in the living room. Like, why?
Nice.
But that's not a fucking thing that doesn't.
Yeah, I don't understand why certain things get pointed out. I think it's just because in the interview, the person getting asked something just pops in their head.
You know what? And it's true too, especially somebody
include it.
Fucking mother, they're going to say something dumb.
Yeah. Like, he used to love sitting there, watching.
He ate his hot dogs a certain way. Shut up, Ma. You're besmirching my memory.
Him, Ma?
Now, we're going to talk about the other side of Gary.
The other side.
Yeah. He had some drug problems, including meth.
Oh, Gary.
He was in jail a few times. He violently attacked both men and women.
Well, at least he was fair.
In 1974, he escaped from a state mental hospital. He was just wearing his pajamas but he got himself 100 miles home
That's more capable than I.
in his fucking pajamas.
100% more capable than
And
I
I
could
think
possibly
this was the
be.
case. This was the he went through a drain pipe like Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
So if you watch a horror movie and you see them driving down the road and they see a sign that says, "Oh, don't stop for hitchhikers. They might be escaped patients," like you're going to Arkham Asylum or some shit like that, believe it, because that was Gary
We
did
saw
it.
that. We were driving through Alabama, and we passed the state prison, and there was signs that say "Don't pick up hitchhikers, prison in area."
So, I mean, I don't even really
Not
think
that
you
anybody
needed to
picks
put
up hitchhikers
just
anymore.
stop it.
Anyway.
Don't pick up hitchhikers. Like,
Watch Chips from 1979.
yeah, or think for 2 fucking seconds.
That'll teach you, right? You mean I don't want a random stranger in my car?
You that can't afford their own car.
Can't afford the bus.
So he had some problems in his past, but he was doing all right when they went to see the game.
Well, good for him up until then.
That's right. Now, the parents were right on top of stuff, because when they didn't come back, the parents were all like, because they were waiting up and shit. I mean, because it's not, and this is the thing, I'm not blaming the parents, but if you look at this fucking crew, why are you going, get or drive wherever you want? Go be like you're not like you are. And I understand living your life, but maybe a chaperone, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought that Gary was the chaperone. That doesn't seem better.
Yeah, I think it's too much pressure on Madruga.
But I don't even know if Madruga would, just because he had the car. I don't think he was the boss of it. But anyway, they were like, well, we got to find him. And they started looking.
Yeah. So did the police look right away? Like, unlike every other case that we've looked into?
Yes, because but it's kind of special circumstances, because these were people that would not, like, you know how they
Survive
always
on
go,
their
oh,
own.
probably a runaway. These
Yeah.
people were not.
These guys would not have.
Even if they decided they wanted to run away, why can Mickey Mantle hit the ball farther than me? Like, they're not qualified to run away. So they needed to find him. They found the car.
Not
They found
damaged,
the
I
car.
hope.
They found they found the car in the Plumas National Forest.
Plumas.
And it was 70 miles away from Chico and not on the way home. Had nothing to do with where they had been. Nothing.
So
Now it had, I got a lot to tell you. It had snowed, and the snow had covered the vehicle. However, it wasn't stuck. They were very confident, the cops, after they found it, that they weren't stuck in any way, shape, or form, because, number one, there were fucking 4 dudes that could have pushed while Madruga tried to back out. Like, even if they were stuck, they could have been unstuck.
Right.
You know?
But then they would have messed up their sweet kicks.
Well, that's true. I don't know what they were. Maybe they had all had Pumas.
Adidas
No, they
or
wouldn't have worn
something.
their court shoes, like, out.
To the game?
No, they wouldn't. You know how it is.
They wouldn't.
So
yeah, I know exactly what it was like.
they found wrappers from the various snacks.
The marathon, and
probably one of the cops picked it up and said, Langendorf, good taste. Half of one of the candy bars was left. I guarantee you it was the marathon, because those were hefty candy bars. Well, they weren't super hefty. They were long and thin.
Well, is that why they call it a marathon? Because it was a marathon to eat it?
Takes a long, marathons last a long, long time. That was because it was also gooey inside. So when you took a bite of it,
I
it
have
had that
no
big
memory of
fucking
this candy
string.
bar.
Like, you had to, like, pull it with both hands, like, for an hour, because it would make a big gooey string. You know what I mean? Like
a Charleston
you
shoe.
couldn't eat. No, because it was caramel. You can't break it off. Charleston Chews just had that, I don't know, fucking whipped up jizz.
Nougat.
I don't know.
Nougat.
There were maps in the glove compartment. Program from the game. Like, why was there a program? Who was mimeographing a fucking program for the fucking UC Davis Chico game?
Well, maybe they had one at the game.
Well, I'm sure they got it at the game. They didn't make it at home. I'm just saying that why did the game make it?
Oh, why did they even have it for the game?
Yeah, why did they even have it?
It's like having it for a high school game.
I don't know, man. I'm just being a dick. Why do they even have a sign?
You're not being nice to the.
Why did they even have fans? No, it's the game.
Lesser universities.
Yeah, right. Whatever. I mean, it's as good as any of the other University of Californias, as far as I'm concerned, because
I would doubt it. I would
I've
think
not
Berkeley
been
and
to all of
UCLA
them equally. So the car was unlocked, and one of the windows was down, and everybody that knew Jack Madruga knew that was fucked up because he fucking loved that car, and there's no way.
Yeah.
Especially if it was snowing. Number one, he wouldn't have left it unlocked. Number two, he certainly wouldn't have left the window down. Number three, there was a quarter of a tank of gas in the car, and the cops, who were smart, they hotwired it. Why? Because they wanted to see if it was broken down. They're like, maybe they abandoned the car because it was mechanically broken, but it wasn't. It started right up. Wasn't stuck. Well, it operated fine. They had plenty of gas. Also, cars have heat in them. They were 4,400 feet up. They were on the top of a fucking mountain in Northern California. It was cold and snow, and they had a warm car with half a Marathon bar in it that they left. So then they looked under the car, and here's a little piece of this is a little contentious for me anyway. They looked under the car, and what they were looking for, because this was like a shit ass road. This was not like a nice tar road or anything like that. It was bumpy and shit because it was a forest road.
Right.
The bottom of the car wasn't like stove up, wasn't scratched, wasn't all messed up, muddy or anything like that.
Right.
And they concluded that it must mean that they were familiar with the road, because their thinking was, if they weren't familiar with the road, then they would just go bombing ahead. And since it was so bumpy, they'd like bottom out and shit like that. That was their thought process. Number one, they were 70 miles away from a place where they didn't even live. They were even farther from their house. There's no way
they weren't the ones driving it.
If Jack was driving, there's no way he would have known the road. But my main contention with this piece of it is, I think the opposite. I think if you do know the road, then you drive like an asshole. But if you love your car and you're on some rickety shit, you go super, super slow.
Yeah, you just go slow.
So I just disagree with their confusion. I don't know if I agree with your police work there. California Stadies.
Well, there's a first for this show, disagreeing with the work of the police.
But I can't.
That down.
I mean, not for nothing, the cops did better in this than they usually do. I mean,
that's not hard.
It couldn't happen. Couldn't possibly. I'm going to do the generous thing and say it was the particular circumstances around these boys, which is what sprung them into action, not the fact that, I'll just leave it unsaid. They were the kind of person that the cops would want to find, I would say. So they were looking, and the other thing that they rightly pointed out, that it was very, very strange that there was no damage to the bottom of the car.
Right.
Because, not for nothing, there were 5 dudes in a car.
But they didn't sound like any of them were that big.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was what? It was 78, 60. It was 9 years old.
78, so the car was probably weighed, 6,000 pounds anyway?
Yeah.
So these guys weren't adding significant, they were adding less than 1,000 pounds.
I suppose. And on Forged in Fire, they always take the
It's
leaf.
not like now where the car's like 2,500 pounds because it's all fake.
It's made of fiberglass and lies. On Forged in Fire, they always use the leaf springs to make their knives, so the leaf springs were probably strong. So they
more than likely
they found the car. They did not find the occupants of said car, and I am going to take a minute to say that Yuba County Police Lieutenant Lance Ayers was super dedicated to finding these guys. Like a bunch of people mentioned the fact that it became his primary focus. You know, I don't know whether he was like in movies, he had like a little bottle of hooch in his fucking desk that he would sip from while he's reading the same musty files over and over. I don't know what him being obsessed with the case meant. Maybe it just meant he kept talking about, I can't solve this case, to like anyone that would listen to him in an annoying manner. Well, you want me to help you? Nope, can't solve it. No way. And they got a million phone calls because remember, they put it in the paper right away. They're getting a bazillion fucking tips that aren't helpful.
Right.
I found them on the news. So then they did get a guy named Joseph Shones, and he had something to fucking say.
Ooh.
So now Shones told the cops that on the 24th of February, he was driving the same shit road in the mountains that our fellas were
young
on.
men were.
He was in a Volkswagen Beetle, and he did get stuck in the snow. And there's a lot of reasons why this is a particularly like good story for us to do because we can bring so much insight, like crippling mental problems. But here's another one that I didn't even tell you about where you're going to be able to bring man on the street fucking witness shit too. So this guy, his Volkswagen gets stuck in the snow. I don't know what he was doing up there.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, I got to get my car out of the snow. And it's just a Volkswagen. And he's like, I got to get it out. Oh, no. And he had a fucking heart attack.
Oh, fuck.
So now you, heart attack haver.
Yeah.
What did it feel like?
It kind of feels like somebody's squeezing your heart, like in Frighteners. Like it's just kind of like
in
you
Temple
just
of
feel
Doom?
like this really tight pressure. Yeah. Without it being pulled out.
Well, it was like your chest, but you actually.
Mine was weird. Yeah, you feel it in your chest. Like mine was weird because I didn't have any of the numbness in my arm or nausea. I didn't have any of the other symptoms. Like I just had chest pain.
Huh.
But it just felt like somebody kind of squeezing it. Like it just like almost like really bad acid indigestion. But like there's just no relief.
Huh. Well, there's that.
Yeah, hopefully it won't. Hopefully the next time it happens, it'll be the last time, and it'll be.
Well, there's a nice fucking
a few months from now.
You fucking dong.
I was gonna say it'd be 20 years from now or some shit. That's fine.
You weren't trying to get your Volkswagen Beetle out of the snow when you had your heart attack. But
I was not. I was doing something far more vigorous. I was sleeping.
Wow. That is a story.
Yes.
That's
riveting.
Patreon.com/Strangeflow, where Shuey opens up about his strenuous sleeping and how it gave him a heart attack.
Yeah.
So Shones was in his Beetle. He's like, well, I got to stop trying to get my car out of the fucking snow because I'm having a heart attack. But I can't get my car out of the snow, so I'll have my heart attack in my car. And he sits in the car and
these guys drive
asleep.
by and throw milk at him.
So he
and like, oh, you're stuck. And then
That's right.
throw milk.
Chico State sucks. Eat my ass. So he wakes up at 2 a.m. and he hears whistling.
I don't want to whistle.
So it's whistling that he hears, weird whistling. So he looks out the window of his car and he sees several men and one woman, and the woman's holding a baby.
What?
Now, he can't really make anything out more than that because there was a car behind him and the headlights were on. So, like, the lights were shining in his eyes, but the silhouette was, some guys and a woman and a baby. So he rolls the window down and says, "You're not going to believe this, but I'm having a heart attack and my car is stuck." Or something thereabouts. And
that's
the people that he was,
milk at him.
and they were like, "Shit." And they like turned off the lights and they all disappeared and didn't help him in any way.
Wow.
So he was like, "Guess I'll die." And so he goes to sleep again. And this time he gets woken up by flashlights in his window and more fucking whistling. Now, they didn't explain the whistling, but I like to think that it was like a cartoony slide whistle that somebody found, and they just kept going like making each other laugh. Crystal Wang. And he's like, "Well, now they're certainly going to help me." And they didn't help him. They disappeared again. So then in the morning when the sun came up about 5 a.m, his car ran out of gas, and then there was no more heat. And whoever the whistling crew was gone.
Yeah.
And so he had to walk. Heart attack man had to walk 8 miles down the dumb shit fucking snow road.
Oh, geez.
And along the way, he passed a Mercury Montego.
Uh-oh.
With nobody in it on the side of the road. And he was like, "Well, that happened to me too. I wonder if they had heart attacks." But so remember this. He was quite near where the guys ended up, and he saw people and heard people, and he heard whistling, and there was a woman and there was a baby. And that's that. Cops also told him that a place called Mary's Country Store in Brownsville is about 30 miles from where the car is found. So remember, if these guys were in Brownsville, they didn't use their car to get to Brownsville. But she said that 2 days after the men disappeared, which would have been February 26, 1978, 4 of the 5 came to her store. They were in a red pickup truck. She said she definitely saw Bill Sterling and Jack Hewitt. And they said that Hewitt and Sterling used a phone booth while 2 others, and she didn't know which 2, went into the store.
Right.
She said that, and I don't know if this is true, and I don't. She knew that they were out of towners because of their, quote, big eyes and facial expressions. Where the fuck did you live? I live in Small Eye, California. Like, what? What in Brownsville, California is going to make somebody go, "Look at this place"? So, not to disparage anybody from Brownsville, California, if you send me pictures of the stuff to like be excited about, I will get excited. Big eyes and facial expressions. But anyways, she said that it was definitely Sterling and Hewitt, and the families were like, "She's fucking sauced because there's no way." Bill couldn't even die on the phone. He didn't want to talk on the phone. Where would they have
gotten this other car?
Yeah. Where'd the pickup truck come from? Why would the guys that don't like talking on the phone have to be the phone ones while the other ones went in the store? None of it checks. It doesn't check out. However, they did buy soda and milk and burritos.
Well, good on them.
So the soda and milk, that checks out.
Yeah, the soda milk checks out.
Cops wrote it all down. Thanks, witness. And then they got information from someone named Debbie Lynn Reese, who actually lived in Yuba City.
Oh, Debbie Lynn. I know her.
So she got 3 phone calls. And I am going to dramatically tell you what these phone calls were.
Oh, cool. You're going to do it. Oh, I'm going to get some acting. Nice.
Ring. Hello?
Oh, that's good.
No. I'm acting. Hello?
Yeah, that was good. Were you in Monty Python?
Quiet on the set. Hello? I know where the missing 5 men are. Click. Now, Debbie Lynn Reese has nothing to do with anybody.
Yeah.
She's like, well, that's odd. And then the next day, ring. Hello? I need help because I really hurt those guys bad. Who did you hurt? Don't play dumb with me. Click. Well, that's another piece of the puzzle, she probably thought to herself. And then the next day, ring.
Is she telling anybody about this?
Well, of course. How the fuck do you think I know it?
I meant as it's happening, or is this
probably not.
She do it all later?
Probably not. Hello? Those 5 guys are all dead. They're all dead? They're all dead. Click. And that was that.
Huh.
So that's weird, right?
Wasn't a very good clue.
Well, no.
Yeah,
and as it turns out,
it sounds like a guy fucking with you, though.
Well, so we're going to find out how fucked up it was. By the way, there's another thing about somebody supposedly said that they witnessed an altercation between a woman and some other guys at the basketball game, and they went to help her, and then they got chased. Then the same person said that they threw Gary off a bridge, and then the rest of them ran off. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh my God.
As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm striking that from the record. Because even in my breakdown, I have it in the witnesses section, some rando blog. That's how I classified it. I'm not a journalist at all. Some rando blog. All right. So they keep searching around the car, but then they realize we're in the fucking mountains. It's dead of winter. And they have to stop.
Right.
They have to stop searching. They can't find him.
Hey everyone, Shuey here. It was about at this time of the episode that we realized that this was becoming a 2-parter. So tune in next time for the exciting conclusion. Well, it's not really an exciting conclusion. It's more of a terrifyingly sad ending to the story of the Yuba 5.
OnlineLinks.com/strangefulthings. I'm out of energy. I don't know what to do, man. What should we do?
What? What'd you say?
I'm tired.
I'm tired too.
I'm tired of trying to figure this out.
I'm so tired I can barely keep on flapping.
Bye-bye.